Obviously we crossed into the debate about the MAC bill, and I think a couple things are going to be of value here. First off, I think it'd be good for one of you all to clearly explain why the contract was changed, because of what impact the law had on your ability to do business in Arkansas and how it compares to surrounding states. And just as a comment, I think as a guy who does business in Arkansas, I think one could also view this as when the state comes in and starts messing with the private market's going to respond. And that's what we've seen happen here. So I think it's important for all of us to understand exactly what the impacts of this legislation are on the market and what the response is going to be. Because, and I think, again, we might find out that any industry is going to respond when the changes that we may have an impact on. So would you all just kind of clarify at this point, and then I know we've got 2 or 3 people who want to ask some questions about that, about why the contract was modified, what's different about, what we're doing now in Arkansas versus the surrounding states, and why they're not being able to sign a similar contract, and why you felt, again, it was necessary to respond that way.
Yes. Thank you, Chair. So from a financial perspective, the law requires that I uphold an appeal if a pharmacy is not able to purchase or acquire a drug at or below the MAC price. And so traditionally, I will say Express Scripts does not ever set pricing knowingly below pharmacy costs. MAC, though, is established based on what we believe the market and pharmacies that are similarly situated, so all independents, for this example, could buy drug at. Now there is absolutely zero incentive for the pharmacy to actually be smart buyers. This law protects them. They can, stop negotiating altogether with wholesalers if they so chose, because, again, Express Scripts is required, and all PBMs is required to reimbursement above their cost. And so our approach and the way that we responded to the legislation was to provide the pharmacies a reimbursement that, essentially a guarantee on their reimbursement. It actually helps them in negotiating with wholesalers, and it protects our clients because then it's not an open-ended free-for-all, if you will, on reimbursement. And so from a financial perspective, that was the one aspect. The other was, as a PBM, and when you're appealing a claim, I don't actually want to know your cost. That's confidential, and again, in the free market, I don't want to know that. But because the law specifically says I have to reimburse above invoice, the contract says you need to submit your invoice to Express Scripts if you want to appeal a claim. And so there were some aspects, again, of the legislation that are not normal or I shouldn't say best practice, and so we had to address those in contract.